Hey YouTube, this week we're not going to be doing any reloading stuff. This week we're going to be talking about replacing a starter on a 2011 Nissan Frontier. So I've done a bunch of troubleshooting. I know my battery's good, I know my electrical connection's good, I know my key switch is good, I know everything else is good. It's the starter that's bad, so I've done a bunch of troubleshooting and I know it's bad because every time I want to go start it, almost every time, I have to get this metal pull and bang on it in order for the starter to be able to start. So anyway, we're going to be replacing the starter today. Okay, here's the starter. Step number one is we're going to jack it up and put it on jack stands. Now, technically you can get to the starter without jacking up your truck if you're a little dude like me, but don't do it. Jack it up. It'll make your life easier. If all you got is the default scissor jack that comes with your truck, a pro tip is you can take a drill and use a drill on it, and it makes your life suck a lot less. Okay, so the location of the starter on these Frontiers is, so this is from the front, coming in back here is right here. It's this guy right here, this cylinder thing. So we're gonna have to undo that. If you're like me, you can't afford a nice toolkit, so you just have all your sockets just jankily just thrown out in here from random kits you've bought over the years. Here's some of the tools we'll be using. These are all metric tools. This is a Japanese vehicle, so they do everything metric. Of course, I'm missing my 10mm socket because where the heck else would a 10mm be other than missing? Okay, the first thing we're going to do is remove this heat shield. To do that, you'll need a 10mm socket. Of course, my normal one's missing, so I'm using this extended. If you have a shorter one, then that'd be nicer. So we're going to go ahead and remove that. So the two lower bolts are 10mm, but that upper is a 14mm, and this is what I ended up using to get it undone. One of those swivel joints, and then I have an extender on there so I could break it free. Also remember, before you get too far, you should undo the negative terminal of your battery, or the positive, or whichever. You want to disconnect your battery so that your electrical system isn't charged, especially when you're working on the starter because there's a lot of power down there. Okay, I got this heat spreader thing completely loosened. The upper 14mm bolt's kind of a bugger, and I don't want to have to put it back in, so I just left it there. And so now, let's see if I can get a good view of that without blocking my light. We're going to undo all this electrical stuff. So make sure you have your battery disconnected, and these are 13mm bolts back here, and then there's a wiring harness that you got to undo as well. There's only two more bolts, so you have to undo to get the starter completely free. There's this one here that is a 14mm, and then another 14mm right there, so we're going to go ahead and take those out. If you're struggling getting this upper bolt out, I used a deep socket and then a small extension, and then that allowed me to get past this stuff, and now I have a big old extension on there to help me break it free. Okay, and my starter is free. Here's the old one. I did end up actually having to remove that heat shield because I could not get the starter out without removing it. That's where that other 14mm bolt goes in, and as you can see, it's above the starter, so it's a real pain in the butt to get to. So I'm just doing it all up in reverse order that I took it out. So I'm putting these two bolts in, then I'll do the electrical stuff over here, plugging all those connectors, then I'll put the heat shield back. So there's the new starter all installed and everything. I'm gonna go hook up the battery and we're gonna crank her and see how it goes. Okay, here we go. Let's see if she starts. Just like a champ. And that is how you fix a starter.